A warning from the FBI for small businesses telling them to be on guard for cyber attacks.
And you may want to hold off on buying a car because the car industry still isn't back to normal since the start of the pandemic.
If last night's game was any indication, we could be in for a fun Broncos season after they took on the Cowboys in an intense game. Maybe that win is what made your weekend, or maybe it's something else that brought you joy this week. It is Sunday morning, so we would love to do a little check-in with you. You can text us at 303-871-1491 or use the hashtag 9newsmornings on social media. Good Sunday morning, everyone. Anusha here, along with Jordan, as well as Greg.
Yeah, I'll say it definitely added to my weekend.
Yeah.
Last night.
I was driving home from Corey Rose's benefit concert last night, and I could see the stadium lit up with everybody there, and my heart started racing again.
Right?
So I went home, put on a face mask, and turned on the game. You know, it's called,
what a night.
It's called balance.
What a night. I love it.
Self-care. Look it up, everybody.
I love
and luckily,
it.
too, the rain held off just long enough for Corey's benefit concert last night. It was great weather. We had a few sprinkles out there at Breckenridge Brewery. Greg Lopez. I'm just starting to conflate all of our morning team together. Erica Lopez, Greg Perez.
I don't think that's his last name.
Greg Perez was also there last night.
Yeah,
Greg,
it was a lot of fun.
Yes, so much fun.
And the weather held up, as you said, a few of those sprinkles, but they were just pesky sprinkles at the very, very most. And as far as today goes, guys, we are in for another hot one. We're talking temperatures in the 90s, some more widespread showers and rainfall, which in turn could lead to some flooding starting tomorrow. That's something that we're keeping an eye on. As far as today goes, though, we still have that air quality alert in effect. Let's get a check on that right now. That's up until 4 o'clock this afternoon and into this evening. Currently, temperatures, in the mountains a little bit cooler, middle to lower 40s there as you're getting along the plains, middle to upper 60s, though, in the metro area as you're getting into Fort Collins, 66 degrees. High temperature for today, it is going to be another hot one, 93. Overnight low temperatures are set to drop right back down into the middle to lower 60s under mostly cloudy skies, and some of those pesky showers and storms are expected to stick around. Sunny start for today with some of those afternoon thunderstorms. Remember to keep that in mind, especially if you're making plans to get outdoors. Heavy rain is possible tomorrow, and as we head into this week, temperatures are expected to cool down. We'll be back down into the middle to lower 80s. That's definitely a sight for sore eyes. I'll talk about it coming up in my full forecast.
All right, Greg, thank you so much, my friend. Well, the FBI's Denver field office is warning small businesses about a recent rise in cyber attacks. Recently, hackers attacked 2 medical centers in Colorado and Kansas, locking them out of systems until they paid the hackers in Bitcoin. They've also targeted Colorado municipalities like the town of Frederick and Gunnison County, according to our partners at the Denver Business Journal. While larger companies may have resources to protect their systems, the FBI is now warning smaller and medium businesses about their risk. They suggest business owners update their antivirus software and train employees on these phishing attacks.
Well, Boulder County is bearing the marks of devastating wildfires. And in a few months, this November, voters will be deciding on a new tax that is focusing on fighting off the next fire. A new countywide sales and use tax on the November ballot would generate up to $11 million a year for wildfire mitigation. County commissioners say the money would be used for things like thinning out forests and prescribed burns. And it would also be extending the Wildfire Partners program to people on the east side of the county that would help people make their homes more fire resistant.
We got to do something about it, and that's where I keep my hope. By passing this funding measure, we will have more money to do that proactive work and keep the place intact, the place that we love.
This is a 0.1% tax, which is a penny on $10. Besides the mitigation tax, there's also an emergency services tax and transportation tax as well on the November ballot.
Diapers, pads, and tampons will all be a little bit cheaper here in Colorado. That's because the state is no longer taxing those items. This after a new bipartisan state law that's signed by Democratic Governor Jared Polis back in June. It follows several states that have reduced or eliminated taxes on menstrual products.
One day, what you can buy at the grocery store could actually change to include wine.
All righty there. The Secretary of State's office is counting signatures on a petition that would ask voters if grocery stores should be allowed to sell wine. But small liquor stores, they don't really love that idea. This week, we looked into what we learned the last time we loosened those booze laws.
They're going to price us out of a lot of things.
Lisa Von Felt has every reason to weigh in on the proposal that would allow grocery stores to sell wine. She's a wine seller. It's literally the name of her family-owned liquor store.
I think it's greedy. for the big guys to do that.
The big guys she's talking about are the grocery stores, who just 3 years ago were able to start selling full-strength beer. At the time, liquor stores argued small stores would be forced to close their doors. Yet, according to the Colorado Department of Revenue, the state still has just about the same number of liquor stores as it did before the beer rules changed. 1,600 in 2017, 1,592 in 2021. The association that represents liquor stores tells us sales did drop for liquor stores that year, down 30% in 2019, but they went bonkers again when we all got thirsty during the pandemic. Owners like Lisa also learned to adapt.
We stopped carrying every package of Budweiser, Coors, Miller Lite, and started carrying a lot more craft beers.
She says you can't pivot like that with rosé.
That's not really an option with wine. We can't sell craft wine. It's wine.
The argument for is that having wine available at the grocery store creates convenience for people. Convenience, liquor stores say, comes at a cost.
That's a considerable portion of our business. When that goes away, then we have to rethink how our business plan is. You'll see all of the little mom and pop stores fading out of existence.
The Liquor Store Trade Association says if wine is available in grocery and convenience stores, you could see anywhere from a quarter to half of all liquor stores going out of business.
Yeah, but it's really hard to model the impact because liquor stores just really have not had a normal year of sales since 2018. You had to switch to beer and grocery stores in 2019, and then it was followed by a pandemic. Growing up in Texas, this was something where you could buy wine in the grocery stores. There we were pretty used to having both liquor stores and grocery stores. So I think people would regularly shop at both. I do understand the impact that these business owners are afraid that they're going to feel because they are used to getting all that business right now. I will say I probably would stick to a liquor store though if I'm trying to find wine because they're going to have a better selection anyway.
Like that fancy bottle or special occasion or something like that.
They're having a lot more, like I have a hard time believing people are going to switch over to a grocery store from, let's say, like Argonauts or, maybe their favorite wine shop that might be in their neighborhood.
Right. I'm thinking of there's like a specialty store right off of Broadway that I had found when I first moved here where they were going to have that selection that's totally different from the grocery store. But I mean, I'm the same. I grew up in Washington State. It was always available in the grocery store. But here it would be a huge impact because it becomes a convenience thing, right? So like it diverts a whole group of customers. So I get the concern there.
If this becomes a thing, I think it's pretty safe to say that the liquor stores will continue to have my business when it comes to the wine department there.
Yeah. And their expertise. Yes.
And their expertise. Food prices are still rising according to the just released July Consumer Price Index. This week's report shows that while overall inflation dropped slightly, prices for food at home actually rose. That is making it harder for consumers to stretch their dollars at the grocery store. But as Jen Sullivan reports, experts say you can still find deals and save money if you follow some simple tips.
Historic inflation in full display at the grocery store. On Wednesday, the latest consumer price index showed prices for food at home rose further to 13.1%. If groceries are eating up too much of your budget, one expert says it's time to carve out some time and put in a little extra effort.
You'll eat healthier, you'll save money, and because of what's going on with shrinkflation and inflation, this is the time to work on your groceries.
Author and frugal living expert Annette Economidis says plan before you leave the house. First, take inventory. Figure out what you actually need, make a list, and then stick with it.
If you just go into the grocery store mindlessly, man, your grocery prices could have doubled with what's going on right now. 2,
Economidis recommends limiting trips to the store to once a week to help prevent impulse buys. 3, look for deals in the food ads. Economidis says local groceries often lower prices at a loss to get you in the door.
So if you can plan your menu around sale items, you are going to save immediately.
4, join a rewards or loyalty program at your favorite grocery store. And finally, understand the sales cycle. Economidis says find out when your local store deeply discounts their seasonal items and stock up.
There is a game to that. But just know that every time you go to the grocery store, something will be on sale. And when that thing is on sale, if it's possible to freeze it or cook it and freeze it.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
And if you are in the market to buy a car, don't expect the market to normalize for a few years. We're going to break all that down for you coming up next.